As the nights get colder and darker, what better way is there to spend your evening than to immerse yourself in an equally cold, equally dark, but infinitely more terrifying world? I'm Amy from What Culture, and here are 10 spine-chilling winter horror movies. 10. Curtains, 1983. The 1980s was the slasher decade, but with so many blood-splattered films coming out at the time, so many were forced into obscurity, and this is unfortunately one of them. The plot follows a group of actresses attending an audition for a leading role in a sleazy director's latest film. What they didn't expect was for uninvited actor Samantha to also rock up after escaping an asylum. And if that wasn't bad enough, a masked killer in an ill-fitting hag mask also makes their presence known that night, and begins killing the performers off one by one. And with nothing but snow and ice surrounding the group, escape proves futile. Very low budget and very bloody, Curtains is exactly the kind of schlocky and gruesome horror that genre fans crave. Intended to break away from the teen screams of its contemporaries, this flick has a deliciously pulpy air to it, made all the better by a brooding score. Though it did take until 2014 for this film to get its first DVD release, it has since gained the cult following it deserves. 9. Dead Snow, 2009. In Dead Snow, a skiing trip descends into a fight for survival when a group of friends unintentionally evoke the wrath of a group of zombie Nazis. Yep, you heard that right. Zombie Nazis. A bombastic horror comedy outing, Dead Snow never takes itself too seriously. It knows it's a ridiculous B-movie, and it has as much fun with its premise as it can in its 90-minute runtime. The goofy characters and their lively personalities keep the film's tone and pace snappy. Audiences find themselves rooting for the character's survival, so when someone inevitably does become a snack for the undead, their loss is felt. When the climax comes, the ensuing carnage between survivors and zombies can only be described as glorious. Blood gushes, limbs fly, and guts are spilled, and there's even a handful of sly winks at zombie mythology thrown in there for good measure too. A sequel took the lunacy to new levels in 2014, though ultimately it did fail to capture the magic of the first one. 8. Frozen, 2010. Not to be confused with the child-friendly Disney film of the same name, this version of Frozen, which actually came out first, is not a film you'd want to watch with your family. Written and directed by genre filmmaker Adam Green, the film follows a group of preppy students on a skiing trip. When the group convinces a chairlift operator to let them go on one more run before closing, they're accidentally left stranded on the lift when it gets switched off halfway up the mountain. With the resort closed for the week, the group are completely on their own in the cold as a storm closes in. Green takes the basic premise and runs with it, ensuring that viewers will think twice about ever going skiing again after watching this film. The biting cold and the perilous drop the trio face is rendered even more terrifying thanks to the film being shot entirely on location. Some early audiences are even reported as having fainted during one particularly bone-crunching scene. 7. Windchill, 2007. Whilst the supernatural horror Windchill is set during the Christmas period, there is nothing festive about this film. The film stars Emily Blunt as an unnamed college student who plans to travel home for Christmas. She uses her school's rideshare service to get a lift with another student who claims to know her from class. En route, however, their car swerves off the road when a shortcut on a notoriously dangerous road ends in disaster, landing them in the centre of a real-life ghost story. They awake to find themselves stranded in the middle of nowhere with help so far out of reach. Ghostly figures are glimpsed in the foggy distance, and the pair are soon harassed by a malicious police officer. As the pair try to find a way to survive the otherworldly situation they find themselves in, they eventually also uncover a sinister truth. Blunt steals the show here. At this point, she was still a pretty new star on the scene, having just finished her role in The Devil Wears Prada, and it's easy to tell why she has such star power today. 6. 30 Days of Night. Set in the sub-zero temperatures of Barrow, Alaska, where polar nights plunge the region into prolonged periods of darkness, this bleak winter setting proved to be the ideal backdrop for a vampire film. A cinematic adaptation of the comic miniseries of the same name, the flick sees the Alaskan town become home to a group of bloodthirsty vamps led by the vicious Marlowe. However, they are not here for some scenic mountainside holiday time. Instead, they're planning on using this period of prolonged darkness to feast on the villagers. Meanwhile, a group of survivors led by the town's sheriff must find a way to survive the carnage and see the sun rise again. 30 Days of Night is a tense struggle for survival set against a hostile environment, where escape is absolutely impossible. A sense of hopelessness hangs heavy in the air for the survivors as violence takes over the once quiet town. Moreover, this film doesn't try to be anything more than what its premise suggests. The result is a tantalizingly bloody and weirdly harrowing experience that fits very nicely into the modern vampire subgenre. 5. Let the Right One In. Despite the snowy Stockholm weather, the love story at the heart of Thomas Alfredson's cinematic adaptation is nevertheless guaranteed to warm audiences' hearts. Oscar is a timid 12-year-old boy living with his mother in an apartment building in the city. He's constantly bullied and belittled by his peers, but he finds companionship when he meets Eli, the mysterious girl next door. However, Eli has a secret, and not in the cute rom-com kind of way. Slowly, the pair's encounters blossom into a tender relationship in which both outcasts find comfort in each other. Everything about this film is superbly crafted. The cinematography beautifully captures the icy setting, creating a haunting atmosphere which plays perfectly against the offbeat adolescent romance at the film's heart. Likewise, a spattering of brutal violence and horror is used sparingly to emphasize the bleak tone without compromising the love story. In short, this is a genuinely fantastic film that any horror fan should definitely see in their lifetime. 4. The Shining. Now, even if I'm one of those annoying people that thinks the film is just kind of pretty good, and the actual production story behind it is the most horrific part that I can't really ignore, I do have to concede and admit that yes, this is one of the most beloved horror films of all time, and it does fit perfectly onto this list because of its snowy winter setting. Adapted from Stephen King's seminal novel of the same name, the film sees Jack Torrance relocate his family to the scenic Overlook Hotel, located in the Rocky Mountains. He wants some time to work on his manuscript, so the winter caretaker job is the opportunity he's been hoping for. However, as treacherous weather conditions snow the family in, the evil presence that resides in the hotel begins to sink its claws into Jack, driving him to a murderous insanity. Building the tension one frame at a time, Kubrick transforms the grandeur of the Overlook into a claustrophobic nightmare, until it explodes in a nerve-wracking climax. Never has snow looked more intimidating or hauntingly atmospheric than during the maze chase scene, imagery that has since become iconic. More than just a plot device to keep the Torrances in one location, the blizzard weather conditions were a warning of the terrifying storm that was to come. And even if I remain to be completely impressed by the film, I do have to admit that some of the visuals in this are genuinely stunning. 3. The Last Winter, 2006. Starring Ron Perlman and Connie Britton, The Last Winter whisks us away again to the snowy landscapes of Alaska. This time we follow a group of oil workers and environmental scientists working at a new oil drilling site. Not long into the project, however, already frayed relationships are further tested when strange events start to occur. Ghostly apparitions of animals are sighted in the snow, workers mysteriously go missing, and bodies start to pile up with no obvious cause of death. Suspense and intrigue continue to grow as the workers slowly realise what a dire situation they're in. Led by a pretty solid cast, the tension is palpable throughout. Terrible weather conditions render the visibility impossibly low, meaning we can barely see past the character's vision, never mind figure out what's staring back at them from behind the fog. Whilst this flick's low budget means that some of the effects haven't held up too well over the years, The Last Winter is nevertheless an effective and poignant piece of horror. 2. February, 2015. Also known as The Black Coat's Daughter, February is a surrealist, slow-burn horror sure to get under your skin and stay there for a long time. The film takes place in an all-girls boarding school during the winter break, as it chronicles the experiences of 3 women whose timelines interweave to form an unnerving tale. One part of the plot follows Rose and Kat, 2 pupils at the prestigious school left behind during the break, who begin to experience strange events. The second thread follows a mysterious woman named Joan who makes her way to the school for unknown reasons. Delivered in a fragmented and non-linear structure, the script refuses to give anything away as the truth is slowly revealed. Whilst some audiences will likely find watching this an exercise in frustration, the rich atmosphere and intrigue will entice cinephiles to stick around. A film that's gone relatively unnoticed, February is an intelligent and devilish creepy indie gem that will make for the perfect viewing this winter, or in fact at any time of year. 1. The Thing. Objectively, one of the best films ever made, and no, I will not be opening up the floor to discussion on that one. This is the perfect time to watch The Thing if you haven't already, and even if you have, rewatch it again. There's no place as wintry or isolated as a research base in Antarctica, and this was the lesson that the characters of John Carpenter's The Thing learned the hard way. The plot follows a group of researchers as they're terrorized by a shape-shifting alien life form that recently got released from its icy prison. The creature can perfectly imitate the appearance of any living creature, and by taking the form of its victims, it's able to infiltrate the group to pick them off one by one. Paranoia sets in as the group realize that they don't know who to trust. Any of them could be the alien, and the result is a tense and visceral body horror experience that you will not be forgetting anytime soon. With nothing but hundreds of miles of snow and ice around them, the researchers are completely cut off from the rest of the world and are at the mercy of the creature. The wintry atmosphere is only one aspect of The Thing's greatness. Excellent direction, sickening practical effects, and riveting performances are all reasons why The Thing is so widely adored. So yeah, if you haven't seen The Thing so far, now is the perfect time to do so. Watch it, rewatch it, make your family watch it on Christmas Day, get on it. And actually, on that note, we've come to the end of this list of 10 spine-chilling winter horror movies. Which of these is your favourite, or actually do you have any more you would have included on this list? Let us know in the comments down below. And in the meantime, remember to check out whatculture.com for more lists and articles like this every single day. As always, I've been Amy from What Culture, and I'll catch you next time.